Welcome to the Staying Connected podcast, where we seek out stories that connect us with one another. We're here to learn about the differences, vulnerabilities, life lessons, and successes that help us build and refine our relationships. I'm your host, Scott Wynn. Let's jump into it. So, another fun guest today, my good friend Jimmy. How are you, Jimmy?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for coming on. This is your first time doing a podcast ever, correct?
Yes, ever.
Hey, so it'll be fun. So let's learn a little bit about yourself. So I know very little, so this is a very good opportunity to dig a little deeper and strengthen our bond as friends. Okay. So you're from Maui, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've been to Maui a couple times. How was it growing up in Maui? You know, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Maui is more chill than Oahu. Like, like over here is like the city, right? And yeah, there's just so much more people over here. But in Maui, I think there's only, well, last time I checked, like 100,000 people or 150,000. Maybe it's different now, but on Oahu, it's like a million. Yeah, that changed a bunch of things. But honestly, like growing up on Maui, uh, I was very sheltered.
Mm.
I didn't.
So,
I am just in general shy person, I think. And back then, I was way more shy than I am now.
mhm.
And so, yeah, I actually didn't have that many friends growing up. Like in elementary school, I had like one really good friend, one best friend, and the same best friend in middle school. But then in high school, we went to different high schools. So it's like I had to find and meet up with a different group of friends. And I did make two really good friends in high school. Two really good friends in high school. Uh, so yeah, honestly, I didn't really go out much when I was in Maui. Uh, but it was great. Like Maui was a great place to grow up. Seems like because there's not as much people, a lot of people from Maui know each other. And I feel like I needed to move over here to like learn a whole bunch of different new stuff because yeah, like I said, I felt like I was sheltered on Maui.
To be fair, there's not a lot of late night activity things to do about everything closes around like 6 p.m. So it's not really your fault. You can like go out clubbing and all that. But so you moved to Oahu for education, or is that the primary reason?
Yeah, so I moved to Oahu for college for UH Manoa. I went to UH Manoa, and yeah, I went to College of Engineering, and it was only really in college that I had finally like a group of really good friends, and that's when I went out and did stuff. I mean, I never went like clubbing. I was like, me and my friends were dorks. We played mostly played video games in college. We never went to the clubs and stuff, but it was really fun. I actually had a group of friends in college finally, and yeah, most of my college friends weren't from Oahu, so we were just exploring this crazy island. The city life was so different for us. But yeah, I moved here originally for college, and it was so much different than Maui that I really enjoyed being over here and experiencing all these different things. And I knew after college I wanted to come back, and luckily I did. I found a job over here a couple of years later.
So why engineering? All the majors? Was that something you really like? You really like math? A lot of engineering majors. When I talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, I love math. Like I love working with numbers and all that. What was that? Was that you?
I did. I liked math. Well, yeah, I did like math. My dad was very strict on us, me and my sister, when we were younger. He made us memorize the multiplication tables. And that part I didn't like, but it did help because it did make us good at math. We were kind of, I guess ahead of
Mhm.
school students. Like not to sound like cocky or anything, but I did like that. And actually, in high school, I originally wanted to be, this is super Filipino. I originally wanted to be a nurse. Super Filipino. But I did take some health classes, and in those health classes, we were required to volunteer at certain health facilities. And so I volunteered at like an elderly home. And I from that, I didn't like doing it. I knew I didn't like being a nurse or being in the medical field. Although I know there's different fields in the medical field, but working with those elderly people and just seeing how hard it is and how depressing it can be made me not like it.
Yes, I work with the geriatric community, and it's tough. It requires a lot of patience, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of it's a lot of grinding throughout the day. You don't realize how long it takes to get someone to the bathroom and clean them. It takes like literally half an hour or even longer because you're not going at your pace, right?
Yeah. And my sister also wanted to be a nurse. But she went through the same thing. She went to Halemakua on Maui, like the elderly home, and she saw how like they're washed and how they're taken care of. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard. So I gained like an appreciation for that. But that's when I knew in high school that I didn't want to do that. But to get to engineering, I did have this really cool physics teacher in high school, and we're just doing problems one day. And he was just saying that, oh yeah, this is what engineers do. And I was like, okay, I think I can do that. I thought physics was really interesting. He made it really cool. And I also had like another teacher who he was like a computer science teacher, helped with robotics. But he was singing the praises of engineering as well. So that's how I got into engineering. I had really cool teachers that made it seem really interesting.
You need the right people around you. So
yes,
I know there's a lot of areas of engineering. So what areas of engineering are you in?
So I work with water. I work at the Board of Water Supply, and I work in the water resources division. And so that deals with developing new sources of water, and we work with that section, works with computer models to see if the proposed wells and reservoirs and transmission mains can be up to our board of water standards. And like specifically for what I do, my section looks at new projects, like new subdivisions or high-rise buildings. And we check if our existing water system can handle the new demands from the new project. And if not, then we would put in whatever requirements they would need to put, like maybe for small ones, install or extend a water line or install a hydrant. Or for these big projects, they would have to, like I said, make a whole new water system with the well, the reservoir, and the water mains.
So I'm not sure you can give us the details, but I know there's a lot of condos coming up in especially the Kakako area. And I've heard from a bunch of developers that they're worried about their water system. So I don't know if you work on that, or if you can give us a little detail on like how you're managing all of these condos coming up and the water system. How are we maintaining that, or how are we getting that to work?
Well, yeah, I'm not supposed to give like very detailed stuff, but just in general, for when new projects come in, we do keep track of their proposed demands. And also for our existing water system, we keep track of the existing consumption from like the meters of the existing customers. And we keep track of the pumpage of all the wells. And we check if the water levels in the reservoirs are low, or we're having a hard time filling them up, then we would put what is called like a moratorium in the area. Maybe we would put a limit on how big a new project can be in that area. And yeah, we have like sections in Board of Water that keep track of how the water is operating and things like that. So yeah, things are doing good water-wise.
Putting up so far. Was there anything that you learned during your job, or especially about water, that blew your mind? Like you had some thoughts about water, and then when you got this job, you learned more about it. You're like, oh wow, that blew my mind. Was there any scenario or any case where that happened?
Yeah, I guess because I'm so like entrenched in water, water department, like I guess I just like before that, I just thought I didn't think of anything of the water that comes out from the faucet, like magic. It's just there. But like, yeah, of course, when working at Board of Water, it's not like it. There's a lot involved. You have to pump it from the ground, and sometimes the well is hundreds of feet deep on the ground, and you pump it up, and you have to pump it to a reservoir tank, and it's what, 1 million gallons or 1.5 million, could be 2.
Wow.
It has to come from that water tank, and it flows down through all these hundreds and thousands of feet of pipe to the homes. And sometimes there's other pumps that pump it to other places. And but also before that, the water has to get treated. Maybe it's through a chlorination, chlorine is added. Maybe it goes through what is called GAC filters, kind of like the ones at home with the black carbon things. So that blew my mind, like how much work is involved to get water to someone's house, and how much planning is involved, because you have to put the reservoir at a certain height so you can have adequate pressure at your house, or put a booster pump so add pressure so you can have adequate pressure at your house. And sometimes the mains break. They just break, unfortunately. Like I don't know if you heard in the news for that big 42-inch main near the freeway.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, it was just that the contractor was drilling, horizontal directional drilling. I think they were doing it across the freeway, and accidentally hit the main. This is all the news. One of our mains, and yeah, they're still fixing it now. And earlier, or maybe like a week ago, the traffic was really bad because they had to like cut off some lanes, close some lanes.
Right.
But it seems better now. But yeah, like it takes a lot of work to design and maintain a water system. That's what I learned from Board of Water, and that's what really blew my mind.
You know, will we ever run out of water? Like, I know eventually we can only dig so much. Yes, will we ever run out of water, or will we just use like ocean water? Is ocean water a good alternative? Or
well, I don't that part I don't know too much about. I know that desalination, using ocean water is very expensive because you have to remove the salt from the water. Maybe in the future it will be better, or it will be cheaper and then be more viable. I think it's possible to run out of water, but yeah, we do have sections at Board of Water that keep track of the proposed demands and how our water system is doing. If our wells are pumping less, if the water reservoir levels are less than normal. So it's up to us for what, I guess, to say no if a project is like too big.
right.
And we do say no a lot. My section does say no a lot. No, our water system isn't adequate, or this water system is up to capacity. We can't serve this project. So
Did not know that. Very interesting. Have you heard about that water situation in Flint, Michigan?
a little bit. Is that the one with the fracking? Or
Yeah. And then like their water supply is like really contaminated. So
yeah.
like usually when that happens, is it an easy fix of just putting some chemicals in the water, or like what do you think happened wrong there?
Honestly, I only heard like a few things from that Flint, Michigan new story. What exactly happened? So the fracking is like you're blowing stuff up under the ground.
I think, and I haven't read the full story, so please excuse my lack of the whole story. But apparently, the water that was running throughout Flint, Michigan, was contaminated with basically dirt. It basically hasn't been going through the process, you know, of adding chlorine, removing other contaminants, and it's basically dirt water, dirty water, bacterial water that's flowing directly through all the pipes and into people's homes. So they I'm not sure they fixed it yet, but it was a national story and it's still been going on.
I think, well, at least over here at Port of Water, yeah, we don't have dirt in water, but like I said, we do treat the water. We have chlorination, and we also put the water through GAC tanks. Especially, we are proposing and looking to develop new wells at different places, and some of those places there was agriculture before with like the old pineapples back in, and so yeah, the water in that area already does have some contamination, but we are looking to put new GACs in those areas. So I'm not too familiar with how the water is treated in Flint, Michigan, but for sure, Port of Water does treat the water.
Thank goodness.
Yes. It's safe to drink. I think.
I think it's important. People, that's the one thing about things that are readily available for everyone. People just kind of take it for granted because I come from Vietnam, and I remember growing up, there were some times like we would have to run the water for like minutes because it was like this brown brackish water, and we just had to run it for like minutes on end until it becomes clear. So people don't understand like having the filters nowadays, just having clean water available, because right then and there is actually a blessing. Because in other countries, like let's say you don't have the time to wait, you just have to take the water as it is and you have to boil it, you know. So it's rough. So thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, honestly, I kind of like that civil or engineers in general make life so much better that people don't notice. Like with water, I was saying before, I just didn't know how much work it took to get water in someone's house. But actually is a lot. And I do like how engineers are kind of in the background. I don't know if I'm articulating this well, but that's what I like about being an engineer. It's not obvious, but what we do is beneficial. But it's like, oh, once you don't have it, it's like, okay, yeah.
The unsung heroes. I want to ask, do you have a filter at home for your water, or do you just take it straight?
I personally take it straight. I know my cousin I live with, he has like the Brita water filter, I think, which is also good. But yeah, I've just been drinking it straight.
Trust your product, though. I love it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would take it straight, but
which I understand. It was kind of scary. Maybe I should.
Are you planning to stay with water for the rest of your life, or like what are your aspirations and goals?
Right now, yeah, I really enjoy working at Board of Water. Actually, recently, I got my engineering license approved.
Ooh.
Literally, what? This past week. So
congratulations. So what is that? What do you need to get the certification for?
So for engineers, to get your professional engineering license, you have to take 2 exams. And the first one is called FE, Fundamentals of Engineering exam, which I took and passed in college. And the second one is the PE, and I took that maybe 3 years ago. And yeah, both, oh man, both exams are 8 hours long. There's a 4-hour morning part, 4-hour afternoon part. And I'm sure like other professionals have other exams that are also really hard. So I don't want to make like, oh, engineering is like, we're the infallible and the best. But yeah, it was really hard. And I'm really proud of getting my license. And honestly, like, I actually wasn't doing good at my job for the past couple of years. Like, normally, the normal timeline, I would have got my license 2 years ago. But my boss took me aside and said, hey, no, your work isn't really good enough right now for me to sign your license paperwork. And so that's what I was working on the past 2 years, like getting better at my job. And yeah, it means a lot to me to finally be able to get the license.
Congratulations. Right. So how it works is you take the test, but then it doesn't get certified until your employer thinks that you're ready. Is that how that works?
Yeah. The because I passed the test, but work-wise, I wasn't doing my job as well as I should have, according to my boss. And yeah, I was just working on it, trying to get better at my job.
That's very interesting, because usually a lot of tests, like once you pass it, you know, like the what's the word? The written knowledge. Now you have to prove practicality that you're able to do it as well. That's very interesting. I did not know that. And so with this professional license, like what does it entail? Like besides a nice salary bonus, I hope.
Well, pretty much that. I know, well, at least that for where I work, to get civil engineer level 4, you do need your license. And yeah, right now I'm civil engineer 3, and pay increase to 4 from 3 is a lot. So I'm happy about that. But also just in general, if you have your engineering license, now you can stamp like construction plans. I mean, for what I don't do that, but you can if you have that. And yeah, just in general, having your license is good because it looks attractive to like other employers. So I could apply to other places if I wanted to, but yeah, I like working at Port of Water right now, and I like working for the city, like public enterprises. I used to work at a private company before, and it's really hard. Long hours. They call you after work and on the weekends, and I was like, I don't think I like this. I did not like that.
One of my friends, she works for a private company, and my goodness, the hours that she works. Oh my goodness.
You do get paid way more in private, so that's like the benefit. But it's like pros and cons. But to me,
well, let's say you get to level 4. Is that like the top level?
Oh no.
more level.
There's like CE5, CE6, like my boss CE6. And there's like even higher, like CE7, or all the way up to like the manager. I don't think I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm just trying to focus on doing my job well at the moment to get CE4, and I'll figure it out.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, congrats, Jimmy. Like, as far, even when I first met you the first time, like, man, you're a super hard worker. And we'll go into jujitsu, and then that's how I met you. Like, even when we did jujitsu, you're super hardworking. I know you mentioned you were super shy, but when I first met you, you were really like friendly and really outgoing. And I never really got the chance to tell you how thankful I was, because I recently went from a combatives class, which is like learning self-defense for whoever's listening. And we went to the master class, and I was really shy and nervous at the time too. Like, oh my goodness, everyone's new. And you were so friendly to me. And then like that just made life a lot easier, because now I can have, oh, there's Jimmy, he's really cool. And it it made me want to commit and really help fortify my belief in jiu-jitsu, because you can agree or disagree, but a lot of times jiu-jitsu is awesome, but it's the people that make you want to come back. Like, let's say you're drilling and then you're just getting smashed all the time. Like, would you really want to come back if you're a brand new beginner? Like, most of the time, no. But if you have people there encouraging you, really nice people, you're like, oh, I want to come back, because not only jiu-jitsu is cool, but these people are cool as well. So
Yes.
I never told you that, but here's the chance. I really appreciate like your sincereness and your kindness when I first came to jiu-jitsu. So thank you for that, Jimmy.
Oh, thank you for your kind words, Scott.
No. It's just your personality, who you are. Not sure that if that's ever been said to you, but I want you to know that, like, especially when newer people come and I see you talk to them, I see you work out with them or train with them, like, I can see they appreciate it, because I know I did when I was going through the ranks.
Oh wow. Oh, I know like someone else at our school recently said that to me too. I was like, oh, like I'm just like, I'm not trying to brag. I also am not trying to brag. Like, I'm just myself. I'm not trying to do anything. But
and then that's something that we need, and we can make the transition to jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts, because I think that that's a big part of both our lives, I believe.
yeah,
Before we get into how you get started, I just want to say that a lot of times, like when you first start training, and then you start to get a little bit better, there's like a lot of ego, I believe, because oh yeah, now I'm good, I can like smash the newer guys and I can beat them up, because that used to be me. And now that newbie is coming to this class, like, you got to go through like your bearings, you got to go through the same quote unquote torture that I did. So a lot of times I think ego makes a lot of people do that, and it pushes like the newer people away from jiu-jitsu, and I think that jiu-jitsu is really about sharing and kindness, because if you don't have that, then you're just a jerk that just knows jiu-jitsu.
I agree. And just like in general, we have to spread more kindness around, especially after this pandemic.
Big facts, Jeremy, big facts.
But yeah, I remember like what you're saying, when I started, people that were blue belts then, who are like brown and purple now, they were so nice to me. They had no problem pulling me aside and just like showing me this and that. And I never forgot that. Like, I'm so happy they're still around, and they still now yesterday too. So I really think that's a big part of jiu-jitsu, like just being nice to people, helping each other out, helping each other get better. We all get better.
People don't understand that if you help the people around you get better, you get better as well.
Yes.
You raise the level of competition around you, that ultimately raises you up, because you're the average of the people around you, right? Why not raise the average of other people as well? Make everyone better. So yeah, how did you get started, Jimmy?
Oh man. So for just martial arts in general, I did Taekwondo when I was like 11 to like 17. I think that's how I got like started in martial arts. I guess like a lot of little boys back then, I loved watching Power Rangers and stuff. And so that's why I wanted to do Taekwondo. That's how I got into Taekwondo. And that was really fun. I thought it was pretty good back then. I did some tournaments in Taekwondo. I eventually ended up getting my black belt Taekwondo.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's been so long since I did it, I kind of forgot everything. But yeah, I had to stop doing Taekwondo because doing it, I dislocated my kneecap. And so it kept happening. It happened a lot. And it was so bad that eventually I had to get surgery. And of course, after surgery, my parents didn't want me to do that anymore. And I thought that was it. I'm just not going to do martial arts anymore. And it was around that time that I started watching UFC. I don't know if you remember or watched it back then, but it was around that time where it was like the Ultimate Fighter season 3. Kendall Grove was on it, and he's from
Hawaii, right?
Yeah, he's from Maui. So like, of course, like all the guys in high school, I talk about it every week, watching all that the Ultimate Fighter episodes. And I actually didn't like the UFC before that, because I guess it was like the early days and there's no weight classes and no rules. I was like, I don't know about this. But it was around that time, watching the Ultimate Fighter then, that I was like, okay, this is like real legit. There's rules now, no freaking fighting or punching people in the balls. And it was cool to see Maui boy do good and succeed in it. And that's how I got exposed to jiu-jitsu. I guess like a lot of people, because I didn't know what it was. And that was when I started following MMA like a lot regularly, and I still do that now. But I didn't actually try jiu-jitsu like for real until I was in college. And yeah, me and my cousin I looked up jiu-jitsu schools near me, and at the time, the jiu-jitsu school where we're at now was right across the street. It was super close to UH Manoa, and that's how I tried.
So do you remember the first time you took a class? How was that feeling, or how did you feel?
I was scared. I was really scared, but they were really nice. They were actually, yeah, like, the guy that was teaching is still teaching today. And I forget exactly what we learned. I think I forget, but yeah, I was nervous. But the vibe of the place, it really stuck with me. And yeah, that was in college, but I always remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, if I ever make my to Oahu, I want to go back to this school. And I was like 2013. It was only 2013. Yeah. And 2 years later, I eventually found my job over here. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to that school. And that's how I made it to where I'm training at now.
Very nice. Very nice. I had something so familiar with my first class. Thank good. We did. I think when I first came in, I had the expectation of like, okay, I'm just gonna learn some stuff. Then I'm gonna start like messing people up, like typical bro stuff. I started with I did kickboxing at another gym, and then one day we just decided to do grappling. And I was partnered with a girl. She was the instructor's daughter. Oh my goodness, she messed me up, Jimmy. She ragdolled me. She like threw me anywhere and everywhere. And she like mounted me. She literally obliterated me. And I left with my ego crushed that day. And like, you know what? I'm gonna learn some jiu-jitsu. And what really pushed me was I was listening to this podcast. I'm not sure if you know Jocko, the Jocko podcast.
Oh yeah.
And so he talks a lot about jiu-jitsu. I'm like, you know what? Let me give it a try. And I think that first day we did. I think we did headlock defense or something like that. Yeah. And oh my goodness, I was lost. Like, what do I do? But I think I was kind of lost for like the first year. Like I didn't get really, really good until ironically after the pandemic, or like during the pandemic. I think even though we didn't have partners, I think I got a lot better. That first year, oh my goodness, I was just garbage.
That's so crazy to hear, because it in my head it always seemed like you were always good.
No. I still think I'm not very good.
That's crazy.
There's still so many things to learn, and the one thing that humbles me about jiu-jitsu, and I would love to hear your opinion after, is yes, size matters when the skill level are the same, but it's just crazy that someone 50 pounds less than me can do whatever they want to me because they're so much better and they know what to do. You know, what humbles you about jiu-jitsu?
Wow, that's a really good question. That what you just said humbles me too. I mean, I'm one of the smaller guys too, but yeah, there's people smaller than me at jiu-jitsu and they fuck people up too.
Yeah.
Sorry, can we swear on here? They mess people up. They mess people up.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Just be you. Just be you.
And yeah, like the school owner, the main teacher, he's a small guy, and he's having his way with everybody, or not everybody else, but he's having his way with bigger guys. I think what also is very humbling about jiu-jitsu is it's hard. It's really hard. Like grappling is hard, and even if you're with the same size person, if they're sprawling on you and push your head away or getting stacked, I hate getting stacked, but it's like, oh my God, this is a really, really hard sport.
Mm-hmm.
And not only like physically is a hard sport, but it's a game. And to get better at the game, you have to practice all these different moves. And you really have to, like, to improve, I guess this is true for anything, but to improve, you have to like have a plan of what you want to get better at and how to implement that, like when you're rolling. So that really humbled me. I think for me, I thought before I could just come to class and that would be it. But to actually get better and shoot for everything else, you have to think about it like a lot. So that humbled me a lot too. Like, wow, I have to really take care of my body if I really want to do this, because physically it's just hard. But also, you have to think about it like a lot, like almost more than when you just are physically training it. That realization was very humbling for me too.
Do you have a favorite submission?
I do. I personally like the arm triangle. That's always
Arm triangle.
the main goal for me to pass side control, get on top, get the arm triangle, even though I hardly get it, but I just like it. It's like,
Why
so
do you like the arm triangle?
it's so simple, I guess. I'm a simple person. I like to keep it simple. Take someone down if possible, pass to get side control, and then get him the arm triangle. And if it doesn't work, well, you're still on top. And maybe you can take back. Although recently, I've really been liking the Kimura from like hard. And you can use that sweep too.
Right.
And yeah, lately I've been liking the Kimura. It's such a strong grip.
Why not a leg triangle?
Honestly, because like I said, I'm a small person.
Oh, you don't want to get stacked?
I don't want to get stacked.
When we train the next time, I will show you what to do when they stack you, and I'll show you the mechanics for the arm triangle too. Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Because that's your favorite, the triangle, leg triangle.
I like the leg triangle from the rear mount. I think that's my favorite. Yeah, the front triangle is nice, but I like rear triangle because you can like attack literally almost everything from there, and it just isolates the guy so well.
I have been really trying to just be more comfortable getting my legs over my head. Oh, I've been trying to get more comfortable getting stacked, but I still don't like it.
There is a way around that, and basically you just gotta invert under them, and I'll show you.
Thank you.
Okay, then that's my goal whenever I come to class. It's like sparring. I think sparring is really, really good and it's helpful, but if you spar all the time, I don't think you're able to develop the skill. You're not able to develop more skill set, in my opinion. I might be wrong. I've only been training for what 2.5 years, so what do I know, right? But I seem to get a lot better when I just learn things by drilling, gaining a new skill, and then using those skills in the sparring environment. Now, what do you think? How do you approach getting better at jiu-jitsu?
I think I agree with what you're saying. Like, of course, sparring is important for the actual realistic situations and just the cardio. But yeah, you have to sit down sit down and just drill specific things, because sometimes when you spar, you just never end up in those positions that you want to practice. But also you asked me like how do I look at like improving jujitsu or improving at jujitsu? Lately, I can't believe only like this year I started to think about it in this way. I guess it like coincided with me trying to get better at work too, so it all happened kind of at the same time. But for me, this is how I do it. There's the beginners, the combatives class, and there's a master cycle class. And whatever position the combatives is, like maybe it's mount or guard or whatever, I try and think what I want to get better at from that position and try and do that during like the master cycle class that day. But also sometimes during the month for the master cycle class, they show us certain moves from certain positions. Like this month, it has been like passing certain guards. And so I try and keep that in mind as well. And after class, I type it out, like what we did, what we drilled. And before the next class, I try and read that again and try like just mentally think about it so I can keep it in my brain. And yeah, try and drill it as much as possible. And then yeah, during sparring, I try and get to those positions as much as possible too. So that's how I've been trying to improve at jiu-jitsu and pretty much everything at life. Like just writing it down somewhere so I can go back to it in case I forget. And yeah, just thinking about it in my head more. It's so mental, so much more mental than I originally thought.
That's the toughest part, pulling it out when you're under stress. Because
Yes.
a lot of times we don't go, or like me and other people, we don't go like super hard. But when we do go hard, I always want to pull that skill out whenever I need it. And sometimes like you're right, like I think about it so much, I end up not doing it because what do I do? And you start to overthink things. How has your process of improvement, like have you seen the fruits of your labor?
I personally think so. And actually, even just like yesterday, I was rolling with somebody and they're like, wow, yeah, like, yeah, you're so technical. Like not to brag. And like, yeah, I don't think I'm that good at jiu-jitsu, but I'm happy that how I felt like I was getting better and seeing these passes and moves and remembering them. I'm happy that other people seemingly see it too. And yeah, and I guess since jiu-jitsu pretty much is back to normal now, since everything is opening up again, I'm happy that I'm able to do it more. And I've been trying to, like, since the pandemic started, to lose weight. And I'm happy I can like see it on like the scale and just see it in my body when I look in the mirror and just see it when rolling, when other people say like, oh yeah, that was really nice. I see nice things. And yeah, I'm happy that matches up with how I feel. I feel I'm getting better. So I'm getting better.
No, you are. I definitely see it when we roll.
Oh, thank you.
I think
That's why.
No, I'm serious. Like most of jiu-jitsu is just about not making dumb mistakes. Like overextending your arm or leaving your neck open. Like I find that if I don't do like real stupid things, like I'm not gonna get. It's not gonna be that bad. Like I'm not gonna get choked out or not gonna get submitted. If I just like keep it simple and just don't do stupid rookie mistakes, and that takes a very long time because someone really good is gonna force you to make those mistakes, and you just have to find the discipline to not give them what they want. And that's tough sometimes too.
Yeah, and a lot of it is concepts more than specific moves, and that's what I realized like recently too. Like, okay, it's hard to remember all these moves, but just remember these simple concepts, like keeping your arms in. Like, that's gonna keep you safe like a lot.
No, you're right. Like a lot of the top competitors, especially if you follow John Danaher and you get his DVDs, he talks a lot about principles and concepts. And the number one concept that I had to learn in the first place is um, like keep inside control.
Yeah.
I notice it's hard for people to submit me or to get whatever they want if I maintain the inside control position, or the no overextending principle. You know, not overextending your neck, not overextending your legs or whatnot. And yeah, you hit the nail on its head right there. Like the faster you can comprehend the concepts, and the faster you can start to drill and learn these muscle memories, because you don't want to think too much. And this is my opinion. You don't want to think when you row. It has to be like a flow, more subconscious. Because the moment you start thinking about it, it's too late.
Yeah.
You need to just boom, boom, boom. Your body needs to know what to do already.
Yeah, and that's where the drilling comes in. So you have it in your head, and I think too much too. So I've been trying to work on that as well.
Yeah, you know, you're an engineer, right? You guys have to think. So we'll have to like turn off the engineering brain with you.
But when you are like rolling and having to think, I guess yeah, you shouldn't think too much when you roll. It's hard.
Like sometimes I'm in certain positions and I start to think, it's like, oh, what would I do here? And then I lose the position.
Yeah. That happened yesterday with me.
I wish I need to start coming more on Saturdays. But hopefully when my girlfriend works more, I can make time to go. Okay. Let's go into some questions, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Okay, so any advice for someone going into your industry? You know, any helpful tips?
Ooh. Any advice for someone going to engineering industry? I think one piece of advice is that it's okay to fail. Like for me, maybe this is just more in general, not so much just with engineering, but you don't have to tie yourself to any title or any kind of title or job. It's okay if it doesn't work out. Of course, you should try as much as you can for anything you want to pursue, but it's okay if you're not an engineer. That's what I had to realize to finally get better at my job, because I was really sad when my boss told me like, oh, you're not doing good enough to get your license yet. And I used to work every single day, like, on the weekends, just to try and improve and get my license faster, because I wanted the title of a licensed professional engineer. But that destroyed me. Like, that put so much pressure on me. And it was only when I was okay with not being an engineer ever, or not getting my license ever, did like the pressure come off. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna improve. I'm gonna do my best. But if it doesn't work out, then that's okay. And that's, for me personally, that's how I got better. And that's how I feel about jiu-jitsu as well. I'm okay with never getting black belt. I'm okay with never getting black belt. I don't care about getting whatever belt. I just want to do it to get better. Yeah, maybe that wasn't specifically for tips.
Oh, no, thank you for sharing. A lot of times we get caught up in the merits and the accomplishments, that we forget that, just focusing on ourselves and just getting better will be more rewarding than whatever's at the end of the tunnel. It's the process, right? Of just focus on you getting better, learning. And I've come to realize that I won't ever be satisfied with whatever I do or whatever I achieve, but I will be satisfied with the fact that I've tried and continue to push myself. I think that's more rewarding than like any job promotion and I'm not saying that it's not nice, but just knowing that I can push myself and prove to myself that I can do it instead of just giving up. I think that's more important.
Yeah. I'm more proud of myself that I kept trying to get the engineering license than getting the engineering license.
That's true.
Of course, like you were saying, I was happy when I got the engineering license. I mean, officially I didn't get it yet, but pretty much I'm gonna get it. But of course I'm happy to get it. But after like the initial hype, like you feel the same afterwards. Like, oh, I still feel the same. And so I felt that way after getting like my blue belt. Like, oh, this is awesome, this is hype. But I still feel the same. And so it's the journey. It's the journey. And like any kind of title, it's almost a trick. You reach it, you reach some goal, and now it's like, now what? And if you weren't happy with yourself before, like getting some title or belt or anything isn't gonna make you happy. That's what I realized past.
No, that's so true. That's something that a lot of people won't ever realize about themselves. Yeah, that's all advice, Jimmy. Okay. Since this podcast is called the Staying Konnected podcast, how do you stay connected with your friends or with your family? Any advice or tips on staying connected or building relationships with people?
Cool. Well, I'm an introvert, so I had to learn how to connect with people. Honestly, I think I live by myself, and so during the pandemic, like, I was depressed. Honestly depressed. Looking back at it, like, I am an introvert, but I'm not so introverted to where I never need to see people. Like, no one is like that. We all need to see people. We're social creatures. And so what I learned from it was you can't be afraid to reach out. Just reach out. We're human. It's a need. We literally need to be around other humans. And I learned not to be afraid to reach out to people. I think mental health isn't taken as seriously as it should. And like, I was super depressed during the quarantine, and who knows what other people are going through. Maybe they feel ashamed to reach out because they don't want to seem weak, especially for guys. Like, we don't want to seem like a pansy, like, oh, I don't cry and stuff, but you can't live life like that. You have to sometimes, or all the time, you have to open yourself up, because how can anyone know what you're going through unless you tell them? So I told like a sister and all the really close friends, like, hey, I feel depressed. This sucks. I hate this. And just from sharing what I was going through and talking with them, that helped me a lot. That helped me get through it. Like, it was cool to play all these video games and stuff when everything was locked down, but you need to be around people. That's what life is all about, like sharing our experiences with others. Just like what your podcast is about.
That's why I wanted to create a podcast. First of all, it's very selfish for me. That's a selfish reason to just like talk with my friends and reconnect with my friends. But in a way, when I do have them on the podcast, I learn so much about them. Like I've learned so much about you, Jimmy. Like probably just as much as the first time that I met you till now. You know, with our time, with our time here, like I've learned so much about you, and that's what I think relationships should be about. Continue to reach out, continue to um, you know, stay connected, continue to challenge one another. And I think this ties in with your mentality of not fearing failure. You know, the moment you stop caring about failure, it just opens your world up.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you stop comparing yourself to others too, this is your own life, and your own life is different. You're a different person than someone else. I think comparing yourself to others like robs a lot of happiness from people.
Yeah, you only got one life.
Yes.
A couple more questions because I want to be respectful of your time. Um, what's what's the kindest thing someone has ever done for you?
It's the kindest thing. Oh gosh. Is it bad? I can't.
It can be it can be a recent memory, like someone
Kindest.
a heel hook. If you need time to think, I could give you one.
Oh God. It's terrible. Wow. I'm sorry. The kind.
Or the kindest thing that you've done for someone lately. Flip that around as well. And it doesn't have to be like all time kindness. No. You be like, oh, I went out my way for this person. Either or.
Oh, you know what? Okay, this came to mind. There was one time where I lost my parking ticket in a parking garage, and pretty much the security guard just let me go. And I was like, wow, this guy doesn't know me, and I don't know him, and he just did that. Like, I don't know how big in trouble he would have gotten, or he would have gotten in trouble at all, but like, I really owed like what, $40 for losing my parking ticket, and he was just like, oh, whatever. Maybe it was because I looked sad and pathetic trying to find my parking ticket, but that was really nice of him. I hope he didn't get fired or anything.
He didn't have to, right?
Yeah, he didn't have to. And there's another time I remember recently where I was downtown and I was riding the Beaky downtown, and I didn't realize that my wallet fell out of my pocket. And someone just came up to me and was like, hey, you dropped this. And I was like, wow, like you could have just taken all my money inside. It wasn't that much, but you could have just taken it, but you didn't. And I don't know you, you don't know me. So I don't think, yeah, those aren't the kindest things anyone's ever done for me, but it's nice. Those were like really eye-opening, like, wow, there is kindness in this world. People just do nice things for no reason. And I was really happy that I remembered those and that I went through those. Like, my faith in humanity is still alive.
What's funny is like sometimes people do things and they're so nonchalant about it. It's like it's whatever. It's like it wasn't a waste of my time. It wasn't too much effort. But for the person receiving it, it means like, wow, you made my day, or like that means the world.
Yeah.
I think life should be more of those. It's like it's nonchalant for me. Let me hold the door for you. Let me say good morning. Let me say thank you. Let me say one nice thing about this person that they did for me. And it's so simple. It takes 10 seconds or even less. And then you can make someone's day, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It really made my days. Like those two events. It's like, wow, they're so kind. People are really kind.
You know, for kindness. And one last question, Jimmy, and then we'll wrap up. You get a 30-second PSA to broadcast any message you want to the world. And don't worry about language, because somehow we managed to decipher it to every single person. What's your 30-second PSA?
Uh we kind of talked about it already, but yeah, just don't compare yourself to others. You are your own person. You go through life your own way. And you have to, ooh, this is a good one that I heard before. Like, be friends with the worst possible outcome. That was like very profound when I heard it. And I still have that mentality today. So yeah, don't compare yourself to others and make friends with the worst possible outcome.
I love it. Any last social media plug or anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, I actually am trying to avoid social media, or like not avoiding talking to people like close friends. But yeah, like I think with social media, it becomes very easy to compare yourself to others. So I've been trying to look at that less. So I don't have any social media plug, unfortunately. But I just want to say, like, thanks for having me on. Like, this was really fun. And time went by super fast. I can't believe the end already.
No, yeah. Listen, I'm very honored that you agreed to come on. And I know you mentioned you're an introvert, but no, your kindness is very extroverted. And
Thank you.
yeah, anytime you want to come back on, please. It's always a blast having like cool people on, like, you know, and it's always a fun way to just reconnect and, you know, talk about anything in mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu and all that. So
Yeah, we didn't even talk about MMA. I mean, like,
oh, episode 2. How come you don't bring your friends to jiu-jitsu, you know? Let them learn the beautiful art.
how come I don't bring my friends?
Yeah, bring your friends.
I love my friends, but they're not into martial arts. they're not into martial arts.
All right. But again, thank you very much, Jimmy. Thank you for everyone listening. You can find the podcast on Spotify, YouTube. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Staying Konnected. Yeah. Besides that, thank you very much for listening and have a great day, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Scott. See ya.